Okay, welcome to this episode of Life Stinks with Mark Death. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite bands of all time, the Paul Revere and the Raiders. What inspired me to do this video was there was this guy from England that did a review of this record that admitted that he didn't listen to it, all of it, and just was how can you criticize something that you haven't listened to? So I initially was going to do a reaction video to that, but I figured that dissing someone on YouTube is probably not something I want to get into, even if they do have terrible taste. But so here we go. I'm just gonna go over the Columbia records, the records they put out. They did two on a label called Gardenia. I think that's how you say it. Pretty good frat rock kind of stuff. What you'd expect coming out of the Northwest in the early '60s. So anyway. They record Louie Louie, and Columbia Records is it's a hit, and gave them a record deal. They gave them a really good record deal, to the point where it's almost unbelievable. They had unlimited studio time apparently, and they weren't charged for it, unlike a lot of bands. And this is from an interview that I read with Mark Lindsay. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about or reference comes from the Mark Lindsay interview from Ugly Things. This came out 2011. You can still get copies of it on the Ugly Things website. So anyway, and another thing, there's not a lot of information about Paul Revere and the Raiders. I can't just go buy a book, unlike, say, the Monkees, that, if I wanted to know what Mike Nesmith had for on his ham sandwich February 2nd, 1967, I could probably find that information. Or, say, the Beatles, where I think the janitor of Abbey Road wrote a Beatles book, So anyway, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is my personal opinion, my theories on things, which are based on nothing. So if I'm totally wrong, or you think I'm an idiot, comment and let me know, and subscribe and and all that YouTube stuff. So here we go. So this is their debut on Columbia. The one side is live, and I think it's, from what I understand, it's live in the studio. They just had people, in the studio to make it sound live. Pretty sure it's not audience overdub, because it doesn't sound like it. Vibe-wise, that side reminds me of the Wailers album, Live at the Castle. The other side, just standard songs you would, they do Fever, Money, That's What I Want. It's an enjoyable record, but they got a lot better real quick. So this is the next one. It has their two hits at the time, Steppin' Out and Just Like Me, and it just has them doing covers. Everybody in the band sings. It's a lot more enjoyable than that sounds. Their version of Baby Please Don't Go is amazing. Phil Volk sings it. They yeah, it's really, really enjoyable. The only one that I think could have done without, or they maybe could have chose something different, was their version of "I Can't Get No Satisfaction." But man, the version of "Baby Please Don't Go," that might give them's version a run for the money. I mean, the bass playing is pretty amazing. So then we go to Midnight Ride, which is my favorite Paul Revere and the Raiders record. It has their best hit kicks, a lot, like Always Tomorrow is really good. The only Ballad of a Useless Man is an amazing song. It's about a homeless alcoholic wanting to die. The version of I'm Not Your Stepping Stone, which was recorded before the Monkees, and is better than the Monkees. There She Goes is great. Little Girl in the Fourth Row. I mean, I realized that was, their target audience to a degree. I mean, they're on TV every day on Where the Action Is, practically. But that one's not so hot. Get It On is great. Louie Go Home is great. I mean, Take a Look at Yourself is great too. And it ends with the unfortunately Melody for an Unknown Girl, which Mark Lindsay gives like this narration, and it's like this slow, like saxophone, corny. But again, it's they knew their audience, and they're doing what they had to do, So after this album, Drake Levin leaves, and he's in the I can't remember. I think he joins the National Guard to maybe make sure he doesn't have to go to Vietnam. I could be completely wrong. Again, if I am, correct me in the comments. So he left. Then they got Jim Valley from Dawn and the Good Times, which are a pretty awesome band in their own right. And so he joins, and they're telling him, you're going to get a song on the next record. So cool, So it gets to the time, he had played a couple songs for Terry Melcher and the producer, and they're like, all right, we can use one of these two songs. So then it gets down to it, and they're like, I guess Lindsay told him, like, sorry, maybe you'll get one on the next one. And he was pretty furious, from what I understand. And I mean, I would have been too. And I feel like, I feel like they could have cut Undecided Man to make room. To my ears, it just sounds like a complete Eleanor Rigsby ripoff, because it kind of is. Or I feel like maybe they could have edited 1001 Arabian Nights, which is a good song, but I feel like it goes on a little long. But this is a great, great record, and it's my second favorite one. And so Valley quits, Drake Levin rejoins. So they all the guys, they're all Levin, Fang, and Smitty they want to go start a new band. Like they're kind of over being the restraints of being in Paul Revere and the Raiders. Creatively probably a good decision, but financially probably not. So they get the new record after Spirit of '67 is Revolution, and this is again a really really good one. It has Him or Me, What's It Gonna Be? Let's see what else does it have. I really like Ain't Nobody Who Can Do It Like Leslie Can, sung by Paul Revere and the Raiders. Maureen's a great one. I mean, it's really solid records. And I don't think this has Jim Valley and I mean, there's a bunch of different people on this. And I think it was, from what, if I had to guess, it's they just took a bunch of sessions and like added new sessions, like with the older ones with the former members, and it has some Wrecking Crew people on it, if I'm not mistaken, which leads me to one thing. Like, I always heard, I could never get any straight facts about how many session people play on these Raiders records. Fang was saying that it's minimal, and that, you know, the Wrecking Crew just augmented the songs they already had, like if they were on tour or something, or doing TV work. But Mark Lindsay was saying that, like, the session people were almost involved from the beginning. So, I don't know, maybe it's somewhere in the middle. I mean, like I said, like, somebody needs to write a book about it, because it's like, I find so much conflicting information, even among the members. So, but at this time, the band is Freddie Willer on guitar, who had a career as a pretty successful career as a country musician. Keith Allison, who at one time, I think Columbia was trying to make him a teen idol, like they were always like, oh, he's a Paul McCartney lookalike. And there's a couple Raiders covers on here that they actually let him use the backing tracks of him, and they just let him put new vocals on. Louise, which is my favorite Paul Revere and the Raiders song, and Good Thing. And this is actually worth a listen. It's good. So then we get to this one, and I bust this out every Christmas just for a minute, but the Paul Revere and the Raiders Christmas album. And it is kind of a monstrosity. There are 9 original Christmas songs, and they do Jingle Bells. And it is not accessible at all. Like, I would have killed to be in the Columbia's Records office building when they present the tapes to the suits of this. I can't believe it got released. It is something else. And I'll just leave it at that. But it's worth having if you're a fan. I mean, I guess. So then we get to Going to Memphis, which for all intents and purposes is a Mark Lindsay solo record. The Raiders only play on one song, what is it, Peace of Mind, and I guess the reason behind that is the guy that's producing him, Chip Moman, I think that's how you say it, wouldn't produce it unless he was able to use his studio band, and it's not bad. I mean, it's enjoyable. I don't bust it out very often, but yeah, I mean, it has some top Memphis studio guys on it, but like I said, it's more of a Mark Lindsay record than anything else. Then we get to Something Happening, and I had a hard time getting into this one just because it's the cover is horrendous. I don't understand, and why couldn't they thought of something better? But anyway, that's don't judge a book by its cover. So one of the couple of the standout tracks for me are "Get Out of My Mind." I think that's a really good one. I feel like it's kind of overproduced, and I'd love to hear like a demo version of it. And I think, and again, this is just me, a guess. This is the first album that Mark Lindsay produced, so maybe he was just trying to go all out. I don't know. The Good Times Happening, that's a good one. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely not the worst. This one, the next one, I really, really like. Hard and Heavy with Marshmallows. I don't know if the term sunshine pop would apply to it, but I mean, it's hard to listen to, say, Mr. Sun, Mr. Moon, and not be in a good mood. Cinderella Sunshine, which is a great song, which was one of the other hits on it. And apparently the story behind that is Mark Lindsay is walking around. He walks by the Whiskey A Go-Go, and he sees a girl come out, and she's wearing this transparent dress, and he said the sun's shining behind her, so he could see through it. And he was like, "Hey, what's your name?" And she's like, "Cinderella." So that's funny. And yeah, most of the whole album is really good. Ride on My Shoulders sticks out. But one thing I could never understand is it was released with two different covers. And I follow a Facebook Raiders page, which I won't mention just in case they don't want to be associated with this video at all. But yeah, nobody on that knew either. So then we come to this one. So, and again, this is me kind of guessing that Lindsay's getting a little creatively frustrated at this time. No FM radios, like, it's transitioning to album-oriented radio, not singles radio. So when they record this album, Lindsay has an idea, and it's a pretty good one. He wants to start sending out demo records, which is like just test pressings of records to local LA radio stations. And he initially wanted to release it or tell them the name of the band was Pink Puss, which is hilarious. But he decided on Pink Puzz. And apparently there's, for a few weeks before it actually was released, it was getting a fair amount of play. And I guess after it officially came out, the station was playing it. Somebody called us in and was like, "That's Paul Revere and the Raiders." And so allegedly the DJ takes it off of the turntable and just tosses it in the trash. But my copy of this, it came with the Join the Paul Revere and the Raiders fan club. And for $2, you could get an 8x10 membership certificate, a wallet-sized membership card. I've seen some of those on eBay, actually. A biography of the group, and a set of 6 glossy photos, 5 individual photos, and 1 group photo for $2. What a deal. So, and it brings to collage, which is one that Lindsay put a whole lot of work into. I think he wrote every song on it, or no, but it was like his baby, and like he was put all his creativity into it, and it's the only record that they put out that got a review in Rolling Stone. Like, it got a really, really good review, and it's worth reading if you're a fan. And but it didn't help it to sell any records. I mean, they even changed the name from Paul Revere and the Raiders to just the Raiders. This one has some pretty good songs on it. I mean, the amount of frustration he felt apparently just took the winds out of his sails, or at least, that's how I take it. So then after that, they had Indian Reservation, which has the only number one hit that Paul Revere and the Raiders had. I think it was like the Indian Lament, I think. I know I'm probably getting it wrong because I don't really like the song, but a lot of people do. And it was a number one hit with no Raiders on it, but Lindsay. So, and the rest of the album doesn't have, it just has a band that he was playing with at the time. So, then after that was the last LP they put out on Columbia, Country Wine. And I was never really a fan of it. I mean, but honestly, I haven't sat down and listened to it a lot. It's just not really. But they released a song in '72 when that album came out. The song was called Song Seller, and it has a line which I think is pretty funny and just kind of shows you where they're at. Has the line, "Why can't you get this record played?" It's a good 45, and I can't find it even on Discogs. And so the other one that came out around that time, the B-side of Country Wine, this song called "If I Had to Do It All Over Again, I'd Do It All Over You," which is pretty funny. So they start winding down. They apparently turned down a spot at Woodstock. I don't know if they would have taken it. I don't know how that would have affected their stock in 1969, but you never know. And they, the things are winding down, and they played the last Mark Lindsay show that he played with them was at in 1975 Knoxbury Farm, and I feel like I've heard some recordings of it on YouTube, and they were pretty tight, good live band. I don't know. It's the woulda, coulda, shoulda. I mean, I feel like they should have lost their revolutionary garb about a year, 18 months before. I mean, like take a band like the Sir Douglas Quintet. You know, when their first couple singles, they're Beatles haircuts, the Beatles suits, whole deal, or like some other bands that had like gimmicks. Most of them lost it pretty quick, but it's I guess Paul Revere was gonna keep on to him as long as possible. What they look pretty cool on this one, but like it's too late. If my 10-year-old sister likes a band, and I'm say 17 or even 15, I'm not digging what my kid brother or sister's liking. And they did one more single on Columbia minus Mark Lindsay. He had they got their drummer at the time, this guy Omar Martinez, to sing. They did an Easy Beat cover, "Gonna Have a Good Time," and then on the A side, "Your Love Is Only Love," is sung by I guess a guy that was playing keyboards for him, Bobby Woolley. I heard someone say that it was probably a year too late because there were probably some AM stations were probably going to play it. Like somebody said, it sounds like a song the Grassroots should have recorded. And I think that's about it. And the other thing, so Quentin Tarantino did a album called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think that's what it's called. But on the soundtrack, it had 4 Paul Revere songs on it. And I just assumed, like, when that came out, that it was going to lift their stock as far as, like, people, like, reevaluating them as a band. I don't think they'll ever get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is pretty lame. But what does the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame mean anyway? Jack shit. But this is, so, I guess, Charles Manson had been to, Terry Melcher and, Mark Lindsay's house a few times. And that, I guess, Melcher had, I think, 3 or 4 meetings with Charles Manson about, like, getting a record deal. And I guess the last meeting, they're out at Spawn Ranch, and as they're leaving, old Charlie is being abusive to a female family member, and they're like, no. And so one of the theories about the Manson murders, which to me I think is the most believable, is that Charles Manson had been to Terry Melcher's house. Mark Lindsay lived there, but they had moved out. Sharon Tate had moved in, and I think he wanted to take revenge on Melcher for like canceling what would have been his record deal. I think that makes way more sense to me than all the other like theories, like some of the ones that the DA in LA was pitching, but that's a whole nother story. So anyway, that's it, and listen to Paul Revere and the Raiders, because they're pretty killer. All right, cheers.